Hi everyone, it's Emmanuel again with another episode of How to Raise Your Financial IQ. You might be wondering what's this behind me, so let me explain. In my book, I created the financial wheel, and this is a tool to allow you to see where you are now, but more importantly, how you can improve your current situation. What I'm going to do is break down how most people's lives are and how their finances are actually split or should be split. What I'd like to start with is to explain how the financial wheel works and the principles behind it. So on the outer circles are a number 10, the middle part of the circle is a 5, and right in the center is a 1. 10 represents the best position that you're in, 5 is a halfway house, and number 1 is the worst position that you can be in. I'm going to start off with the loan and debt area, and mainly because there's over 8.3 million people in the UK that have debt of 15,000 and above, so I thought that would be an important area to start with. In this example, if you're number 10, it means you have no debt whatsoever. If 100% of your income is covered to service debts, that would be a 1, and if 50% of your debts are covered from your household income, that would be a 5. So in this example, we're going to go through and say it's 50% of your actual income. I'll show you how to start marking this down. The financial wheel is not set in any particular order or sequence. I'm just going to go through one area at a time, and the next one I'm going to cover is your retirement fund. What do you need to have in your retirement fund to be a 5, a 10 or a 1? To get a 10 for your retirement fund, when you retire, your retirement fund has to provide all the income that you need when you retire, excluding your mortgage. A 5 will represent 50% of what you actually need, and 1 will represent you haven't even started planning for your retirement. So how do you calculate the fund that you need when you retire? If you have an income of £20,000 per annum that you want to replace when you retire, you would multiply that by 20, and assuming a 5% return, that would give you the size of the fund that you need. So in this example, 20,000 multiplied by 20 would be £400,000. If your retirement fund is only going to produce half of that, that would be a 5. And if you haven't started, as I said before, that would be a 1. So for the average person in the UK that just relies on the state pension, it's going to be around about a 1 or a 2. So in this example, I'm going to mark it as a 2. The next area I'm going to cover is an emergency fund and how much money you need to have as an emergency fund in case an emergency happens. To qualify for 10, you should have 6 months worth of savings in your emergency fund. To be a 5, you would need 3 months, and for a 1 or below, you'd have no savings to allow for an emergency fund. So hypothetically, if you earn £2,000 a month, to qualify for a 10, you would have £12,000 in the account. If you have only 3 months, that's 6,000, and if you don't have any savings at all, that would be 0. In this example, from my research, what I've found out is very few people have more than 3 months worth of savings. Show it down as a 3. The next one is passive income. So what is passive income? Passive income could be if you're a landlord and you rent out the property and you get rental income on a monthly basis. Passive income could also be interest that you're getting on your savings. From my research in the UK, very few people have any kind of passive income. Show it as a 1. The next area is property. Whether you're renting or whether you have a mortgage, I'm going to give you an example based on an income of £2,000 per month. If your income is £2,000 a month, to qualify for a 10, you have to be spending 40% or less of your income on your mortgage or rent. So from £2,000, 40% would represent £800. A 5 would represent that you're spending 50% of your income towards your rent or mortgage, and in this case that would be £1,000. 1 would represent that you're spending 60% of your income or higher, which is £1,200 a month or more towards your mortgage or your rent. In this example, if you're spending 50% of your income towards your mortgage or rent, that would be a 5. Finally is your work income. And if you're able to live and pay for all the things that you do easily each and every month and have 20% left over for savings, that would represent a 10 on the diagram. 5 would represent that you have left between 5 and 10% of your income at the end of each month after paying for all the things that you normally do. 1 would represent that usually your money runs out before the end of the month and they just cover all your basic living expenses, your gas, your electricity, your telephone, your mobile phone, your normal basic living expenses. Again, from my research, most people have less than 5% of their income left over at the end of each month, and this will represent a 3. The next part of the financial wheel is joining all the lines together to see how your wheel really looks. As you can see from the diagram, if this was a wheel on a car that you're driving, and you had 4 wheels shaped this way, it's going to show you that you've had a very difficult ride so far. Your ride so far has been a really bumpy ride. The purpose of raising your financial IQ is twofold. 1, we're going to make the circle smoother so all the lines add up and the numbers add up together. And as you can see, from 1 to 10, the bigger the wheel, the more ground you can cover, the faster it is for you to get to your financial destination. I wanted to give you a tool that you could see immediately where you are right now and the areas that need improving and working upon. I'm going to help on each and one of these topics to show you how you can improve and get to a smoother line and a bigger line. The first part is to get everything to a 5 or larger. Next part is to increase it to a 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 over time. The big wheel represents a fast car. Just like a fast car gets to a destination quickly, the larger the wheel, the easier it is for you to be able to get to where you want to go to as fast as possible, which hopefully is true financial freedom. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. Any questions, please put them in the comments below, and I'll do my very best to answer as many questions that you pose. I'll see you on the next video. Have you learned something? Are you going to use it? We'll see.